on Game Plan.
Let's go get this win for each other. We don't take 1, 2, 3, win.
The Saints are off to get their 5th straight win, but it won't come easy against the red-hot Baltimore Ravens.
I'd love to beat these guys, you know. They're always a great team when you play them, you know, so you always know it's going to be a slugfest.
We're breaking down the matchup of the league's best defense hosting the league's best offense. Plus, should the Saints trade for Patrick Peterson? Deuce McAllister weighs in.
If they can pull it off, then, man, Mickey and Sean, you guys, it's whoa.
From Fox 8 Sports, this is Game Plan. Sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealers. Home of the best-selling truck 41 years straight.
Guess who's back? Back again. Saints are back.
What?
Tell a friend.
I'm your friend.
Back from the bye. The Saints are ready for the Ravens. Welcome to Game Plan. He's Juan. I'm Sean.
We're friends, right?
Indeed.
All right. It's time to get back to work, and work is going to get substantially harder over the next 5 weeks, taking on a bunch of playoff contenders, beginning with the Ravens on Sunday.
There's still so much of the season left, right? And we understand the importance of each game, you know, each and every week. You know, there's just so much football left to be played, you know, and each game is so important, you know. It's one unit. It's one game within the framework of, 16, you know, and, our whole division plays this whole division, right? So we're playing Baltimore, and then the rest of our division has to play Baltimore at some point, and so on and so forth, right? So just a lot of football left to be played.
The team's first injury report is out, and there's some good news on it. Cornerback Marshawn Lattimore was full go today. He's being brought back slowly following the concussion he suffered against Washington on Monday Night Football. But the fact that he was full go in today's practice is a good sign, Sean, that he should be ready to play on Sunday. Meanwhile, the league's best offense, Saints, versus the league's best defense, Ravens. Something has to give on Sunday.
What a matchup, Juan. And when you look at this Ravens team, it's loaded with talent and battle-tested players. Think Baltimore Ravens, think defense. In particular, a fast, physical defense that gets after the quarterback from all different angles. Like last week against Tennessee when they sacked Marcus Mariota 11 times.
We got a lot of good pass rushers. So a lot of good matchups, for them. I mean, it's obviously something that they've done well for a very long time. They do it well with their D-line, their front four, so to speak, and then obviously, from the linebacker position as well. It's a 3-4 defensive structure, so bigger-bodied guys, strong, powerful. You feel like that's been their scheme for a very long time.
Ravens did a lot of great things to force Tennessee into some communication problems, a lot of different looks. There was a lot of factors that went into those 11 sacks. We just have to be prepared for our run Sunday.
But the Ravens have more than just defense. On offense, Joe Flacco leads the way at quarterback. Michael Crabtree and former Saint Willie Snead are his top 2 targets, which doesn't surprise Snead's former head coach.
In just the role you would envision, he's number one, got a tremendous amount of grit. You see him making plays on third down. He's an outstanding blocker. He'll come across in motion. He'll get to the point of the attack in the run game, but he'll also find the holes in the zone and man-to-man coverages. So he's doing real well.
Alex Collins leads the team in rushing, and they do get some assistance in the ground game with their own Taysom Hill package. And first-round pick Lamar Jackson, who's flashed that elite athleticism he showed at Louisville.
With each team, when you have something like that, you kind of put your own spin on it, and I'm sure that Baltimore's doing the same, trying to do the same with Lamar.
The Ravens also have one of the best kickers in the NFL in Justin Tucker, who's 12 of 14 on the season and made 3 from beyond 50 yards.
This is one of those games that could come down to a field goal kicker. You hope the Saints is better than theirs. Meanwhile, the Ravens, though, that defense sacked Titans quarterback Marcus Mariota 11 times on Sunday. That tied a franchise record. Getting to the quarterback that many times is not something you plan, but something you hope for. And against the Saints on Sunday, the Ravens are just hoping they can get to Drew Brees. In their eyes, Brees is the head of the snake. He makes the offense go, and he's earned every accolade that he's gotten thus far. To beat the Saints, Jim Harbaugh recognizes his team has to be able to disrupt number 9.
His vision's unbelievable. His pocket awareness is the best, and he's very accurate, so he can see, he can find the open receiver. I mean, he gets guys in position, they scheme guys open. He knows what he's looking at pre-snap, and he knows what he's looking at post-snap, so he's not going to miss an open guy very often. And he's got a great feel for the rush. So he'll take some sacks if he has to, but only if he has to. He'll hang in there and make some tight throws when he's got pressure all around him. And, he's got the numbers he's got for a reason. He's every bit of what he's cracked up to be. And got a lot of respect for him, got a lot of respect for the whole offense.
The Ravens have had Drew Brees' number. He's lost all 4 meetings against them, even dating back to his days as a Charger. They've given him problems.
Yeah, Brees needs just 1 touchdown to get to 500 milestone, but also 1 Baltimore win shy of another one.
Absolutely right. Beat the Ravens, and Brees will become only the 3rd quarterback to have beaten all 32 NFL teams. Only Brett Favre and Peyton Manning have done that. So every time he steps on the field right now, he's breaking some kind of record or joining some elite company.
It's the product of a long, productive career.
Years.
Still to come on Game Plan, it's tape time. This week, we dive deep into Willie Snead's resurgence in the Charm City.
You're watching Game Plan, sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealers, home of the best-selling truck 41 years straight.
When the Saints face the Ravens on Sunday, they'll see a familiar face wearing 83 again.
And Juan, his name is Willie Snead. As my film study showed, after a rough 2017 in black and gold, Snead is having a nice bounce-back season in black and purple. The scouting report on Snead should look pretty familiar. Like he did with the Saints, the Ravens use him almost exclusively in the slot on either the right or the left side. Now, Snead is not blazing fast, but is most effective when running crisp, sharp routes, usually in the intermediate part of the field, moving the sticks, like in the second quarter. From the right slot, Snead finds the hole in the zone and curls at the first down marker for 11 yards on 3rd and 11. Later in the third, on 3rd and 17, from the left slot this time, Snead runs a dig route at the sticks and gains 24 to convert the first down. Now, where Snead struggles is when he can't be a route technician and has to rely solely on athletic ability. The Ravens sent him on 3 bubble screens Sunday, right at the line of scrimmage. Snead gained minimal yardage on each one. Remember, Snead is also valuable as a blocker, something the Saints must account for on Sunday.
He's also a valuable pass catcher as well. We saw how good he was here with the Saints. Even though the Saints cornerback play has been better since week 1 against Tampa Bay, it's still been an adventure sometimes. Each week, you're still wondering what you're going to get opposite side of Marshawn Lattimore. This is also why the Saints are likely keeping their eyes open on the trade market, where a guy like Patrick Peterson could become available. There's never been any questioning of just how good the former LSU Tiger is. Peterson's still one of the game's best corners, and he'd look fantastic in black and gold.
He's a player that's not even 30 yet, so if they can pull it off, then, man, Mickey and Sean, you guys, it's whoa. I'm all for Patrick Peterson.
Yes, sir.
The question is,
Bring him back.
How do you get it done? That's going to be the ultimate question. Fitting his salary under the cap, the Saints can absorb that. I mean, you can massage that salary cap as much as you want to. The question is, what is the compensation going to be? And if the Saints are interested, I can guarantee you there are at least, 30 other teams that are interested as well?
And if the Saints bring Peterson and his 2-year, $22 million contract on board, that tells you one thing. They are in it to win it right now, Sean.
Whatever chips they have left, they're pushing it all the way to the center. If I'm Mickey Loomis, I pick up the phone, I make the call, and I say I have X, Y, and Z for Patrick Peterson and see what they say.
The question is, do the Saints have enough assets to warrant getting that guy here? It won't be a money issue. Mm-hmm. This team, if they're trying to win right now, with Drew Brees having 2 years left on his contract, they want to win right now. Patrick Peterson is the guy you can bring in, and you don't worry about the wings. Now you can send all kind of blitz packages with Dennis Allen. It will give his defense a whole new look.
He's a top-tier corner, so you're not just going to get him for nothing. So it's going to be a legitimate kind of offering to get Patrick Peterson here in black and gold. Up next on Game Plan, can the Saints replicate their post-bye success in a city where they haven't had many W's? We'll discuss with Luke Johnson of NOLA.com. The Times Pick You next.
You're watching watching Game Plan, sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealers, home of the best-selling truck 41 years straight.
They will mix Lamar Jackson in as Alex Collins. That offensive line will be another critical one, a key that really sets them up. I mean, I think that it is one of the best also in the NFL. Maybe not in that top 5 like you've seen with Washington and some other teams, but the way that they can protect and give their quarterback time and then to be able to do some different things zone and power-wise, it's going to be a tough matchup.
Saints Hall of Famer Deuce McAllister will be with us Sunday for a special 2 p.m. tailgate to preview the game, and Sunday night at 10:30 to wrap it all up. Come Monday, it's usual for Deuce, 8 a.m., 5 p.m., and a 10:35 Black and Gold Review show. All of that right here on Fox 8. Always nice to have back with us. Luke Johnson from NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune. Cam Jordan said on Monday that he wishes, and probably like a lot of players, they wish the bye had come a little later in the season based on how they were playing. Do you think the bye came too early this time after Week 5?
Yeah, I do actually. I think you're getting Mark Ingram right back in the fold. Now he has to wait a week.
Yeah.
You just played your best game of the season. They're really healthy right now. Outside of Marshawn Lattimore, I think if they could have perfectly planned out the season, I think they probably would have wished this bye came after Week 8, Week 9, something like that.
Yeah, but if you're inside the locker room, you got to let that go. I mean, you've got to let that go. I mean, you will know for sure after this week if they come out flat, they come out kind of lethargic, then we'll know perhaps it broke their rhythm. But I think at times this is a storyline that gets played up every year around the bye week. At some point, though, you just got to let it go and just play the schedule as it lies and come out and hopefully pick up right where you left off, because a bye week is never bad in terms of resting up, refreshing, and getting, because you're always a little bit injured. You're never 100% healthy, so it helps. Take advantage of it and do your best to pick up where you left off.
What do you think Peyton's number one priority coming out of the bye is?
Victory. I mean, winning. I mean, it's the toughest part of the schedule. No, we'll get into that in a little bit, but winning games. I mean, you're on a roll right now. Keep it going. Get Mark Ingram back involved in a little bit more. I just think that's what it really boils down to: winning these games as they come out.
Yeah, I totally agree with Sean. You got to keep the momentum going the way it is right now, and that's, I think, going to be the biggest challenge. Is they played a couple of really good games. Now they got to find a way to keep that going.
We know that Drew Brees has never beaten the Ravens, whether he's been with the Chargers or with the Saints. But it seems like this series, this matchup, hasn't really changed that much over the years on how it has to be won. It would seem that it begins in the trenches for the Saints. They have to win that area first before they can do anything else, and you have a chance to win in the game.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the matchup that we have to watch out for this time, because the Ravens' front seven is legit. It is really good. They had 11 sacks last week against Tennessee. They only gave up 10 completions.
Yeah.
So I think if they're gonna get Drew his first win against Baltimore, it starts with Teron Armstead, Larry Warford, Ryan Ramczyk, and those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a crazy stat. I think it was the Titans ran less than 30 plays. That's unbelievable in today's NFL. I think you're right, though, Luke. The Saints offensive line versus the Ravens front seven is the matchup of this game, because it's so much is about kind of pre-snap recognition, and the Ravens make it so hard. So the offensive line has got to play well. The good news is they've been doing so. They've been very consistent. Yeah. So got to keep this going against the Ravens.
We talk about the offensive line being maybe one of the best in the NFL. They're going to find out just how good they are against this kind of amoeba defense. The Saints need to have a better day running the ball to have a good day passing the ball. That's pretty accurate.
I completely agree with that. I think trying to crack the code, so to speak, of the Ravens defense while dropping back or pre-snap, post-snap, and guessing wrong and falling behind, I think that's the wrong way to go. I think when you have guys lined up, 3 over here, 2 over here, 1 standing up over the center, run right at them. I mean, to me, that's the best way to get a rhythm going, play downhill. To me, this is the type of game where Mark Ingram can really establish himself this season against the Ravens.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and then I also think that they need to figure out how they want to divide the snaps between Kamara and Ingram this week. I don't think it looked great last week. So I think if they can do that this week, it'll be huge for their offense.
Is it going to be trickier on being able to use Kamara more this week than they did last week? He was not very involved in the offense last week, and probably because Mark Ingram's getting his first opportunity back.
Well, Mark was back. They've been using him really heavily the few weeks before, and then on top of that, as Sean Payton said, some of these big plays that we had, the 60-yard touchdown, the 40-yard touchdown, they kind of take some of your bullets away. Yeah. So I think we'll see him a little bit more.
Yeah, and look, if you get an over-aggressive Ravens defense to maybe sneak Kamara out on the flat or out kind of on a flare route, it could work. So I'm not sure what the snap count's going to be, but I think there's a role for him in this game, no doubt.
We've talked about the Taysom Hill factor and how teams have to kind of game plan and scheme for him now. I would imagine the way teams scheme for him is the same way the Saints may have to scheme for Lamar Jackson.
I think it's a little bit different, actually. I talked to the guys about it today, and Taysom will line up at tight end, slot receiver, and he's a big physical guy, and Lamar isn't quite that. I think with Lamar, the thing you're most looking out for is that read option attack, and I think Taysom can hurt you in a couple different ways.
Yeah, I think Taysom goes in motion. He lines up at the H, the slot, running back, quarterback, runs down kickoff. So Lamar doesn't have that diverse of a package just yet, but I think if you're the Saints, he's got electric speed, electric playmaking ability in the open field. You have to be ready for that one way or another.
You may be more worried about Lamar being able to throw the ball better than Taysom, wouldn't you? Since he's more of a natural quarterback.
Yeah, perhaps, I would think so, especially maybe downfield. But, I mean, he's only thrown, I think, 5 passes so far. But he can break that out at any point in the game.
You're right. Why have the Saints been so good after the bye week? They've been 7-2 since 2009. What do you think the key to that is?
Look, that schedule has worked. And like we said a few nights ago, 06, 07, and 08 after the bye week. I think one of those games, if I'm not mistaken, came against the Ravens. I think it was 06. They got destroyed. That was the worst game all season. It's just the extra rest, kind of take your mind off, and then come back kind of ready to go. And I think that bonus workout on Monday helps you transition back into, you're not all the way at Wednesday before you see the field again. You're on the field Monday, you're ready to roll. And in the Saints case, they played a Monday night game. So it was a little bit of a tighter window, so I think they might be okay. Yeah,
and we heard Sean Payton say that he reached out to Andy Reid, and he's a great person to reach out to. He's 16-3 after bye weeks, insane record, and that's where he got that schedule from.
These next 5 games, the difference between the next 5 and the first 5, you're playing 5 teams that are all playoff caliber teams that are going to be in the conversation, either in the playoffs, leading their division in the playoffs. How do the Saints need to maneuver this so they're still in the picture of the playoffs coming out, if not at the top of the heap in the playoffs coming out?
Well, look, I think first things first, when you're looking at these teams, every single one of them has some really standout aspect of its defense. Pass rushes for Rams, Ravens, Bengals, Vikings are all really good. I think you need to, first and foremost, you need to have all your guys there and healthy. And I think if they can get through this with like 3 wins out of these 5 games, that'd be great for them.
Yeah, and on the flip side of that, if you come out, say, 1-4, all of a sudden the good vibes of this season goes away real quick. And I went back and checked. The last time they played Baltimore, lost. Last time they played Minnesota, lost. Last time they played LA, lost. Last time they played Cincy, lost. Last time they played Philly in the regular season, lost. So, won't be easy. So I think got to get at least 3 of the 5.
Sean Vazan, the bearer of bad news.
Hey, you know.
Or it's a sign that only way to go but up.
Only way to go but up.
We'll go with that. Luke Johnson from NOLA.com and the Times Pick Union. Thank you, Luke.
My pleasure.
All right, still to come, the Saints are done with their bye week, but plenty of big names are getting set to take a rest. Chris Hagan lays out the fantasy football landscape next. And in the meantime, we've got much more Saints coverage on the Final Play app, analysis, blogs, slideshows, some videos, and of course you can submit a question for us to answer using the Final Word feature on the Final Play app.
Game Plan is sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealers. You're watching Game Plan, sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealers, home of the best-selling truck 41 years straight.
If you're looking for some keys to winning Sunday's game for the Saints, here's 2. The Saints have to control the ball on offense. When the Ravens have lost, they've given up a ton of offensive yards, 395 yards allowed per game in 2 losses compared to just 209 given up in their 4 wins. Also a key, turnovers. When they've taken them away, they've won the game. When they've given them up, they've lost the game. Week 7 of the NFL season, and the contenders are beginning to push aside the pretenders in fantasy football.
And Chris Hagan has some tips on how to keep pace in your league, even when some of your best players may have the week off. It's all in this week's Extra Point.
Heading into Week 7 of the fantasy football season, the best way to approach bye weeks when heading to the waiver wire or picking players deep on your bench to start is to go with the best fantasy offense. That doesn't necessarily mean the best overall or efficient offense, but rather the one-dimensional, high-volume offenses that are likely to play in shootouts because of a bad defense. We'll go over some of my favorites, starting with the Los Angeles Chargers. Obviously, Melvin Gordon's been one of the top fantasy football backs this season and will continue to get the most touches, but several others are consistently getting targets and production. On desperate weeks and even in favorable matchups, backup running back Austin Eckler is worth a start. He averages 12 points per week in PPR formats, making the most of his average of 9 touches per game. Others on their offense worth taking a look at include Mike Williams and Tyrell Williams at receiver, who always have a chance to score, and obviously, Keenan Allen is a must-start every week. Averaging 29 points per game as a team, each of those players has a high ceiling. Though they're on bye this week, the Steelers are another. What everyone will be waiting to see is whether or not James Conner still gets a lot of work when Le'Veon Bell returns. Still, there's plenty to go around. In addition to Antonio Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster has been more than reliable as a double-digit performer and at times has even received more targets than AB. And though tight end can be a hit-or-miss position sometimes, Vance McDonald's worked his way into starter territory. And with a defense that's allowing opponents a lot of points, shootouts seem like they're inevitable. But finally, the biggest variety of fantasy contributors probably comes from Atlanta. Sure, other teams like the Rams, Saints, and Texans are known for big plays, but the Falcons truly spread it around. Julio Jones is a regular for double-digit targets. Mohamed Sanu's bounced back in a big way over the last few weeks. Calvin Ridley is one of the most up-and-coming rookie starts. And then in their backfield, starter Tevin Coleman and backup Ito Smith are both getting solid touches, especially with Devonta Freeman now on injured reserve. They've even worked tight end Austin Hooper more into the mix. You can easily justify starting any one of them any week. Reporting for Game Plan, I'm Chris Hagan.
Football on Fox 8 is back tomorrow night for the Broncos and Cardinals, and then Sunday it's a late kickoff in Baltimore for the Saints, 3:05 p.m. Our tailgate will start at 2. We'll be back with you to wrap it all up on the final play at 10:30.
And of course, you can always get in touch with us using the Final Word feature on the Final Play app. That will do it for us tonight. Thank you for watching Game Plan. Thanks to everyone here at Fox 8 for their contributions. Our next newscast is at 4:30 in the morning. Good night, everyone.
Que lo bradi.
From Fox 8 Sports, this has been Game Plan, sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealers, home of the best-selling truck 41 years straight.